goal here is to convert my US key to the European version of the key for the i3. I looked up on Alibaba and found the BMW i3 key that had the buttons that I wanted. Let's look at how to disassemble these two keys and swap the buttons. These are the tools that I used. I didn't end up using the pick. Main thing is two flathead screwdrivers with differing widths. Start by removing the valet key. Flip the fob over and push the little rectangle at the top and the key slides out. To remove the battery cover, there's a little slot next to where the key was just removed. You can use either the tip of the key or a screwdriver. I use the key and pry or push up on the battery cover. Covers aside, we'll work on getting the silver trim removed. There is a small space under the silver trim for the flathead screwdriver to go into. The 1/8 screwdriver ended up being a little too wide for the stock key. Before prying up, I use a nickel to create some leverage to pry the silver trim up gently. There are two movements for removing the silver trim pieces. Once pried up and tabs are clear of the case, you then push towards the top of the key. So in this orientation, it is down. Once those tabs are cleared, you can push trim up and away from the key. You'll be able to see the silver for the trim on the front of the key. Place your fingers covering the trim and the buttons on the front of the key. Grab your small flathead screwdriver. In this hole, I push on the silver tab that is now visible once the back trim is off. That will release them on the front of the key. You then push it up and out of that slot that retains the top of the trim, making sure that I am turning the key face up before releasing my hand. If I don't do this, the buttons and trim can easily fall out. I really didn't want to ruin the original key, so I had started with the Alibaba key. This part of the video is that process with an explanation of how the tabs and retaining clips interact. The explanation's probably wrong and doesn't really matter because the OEM key wasn't a problem due to its material properties, and the trim is removed quite easily. If you want, you can slow down the video for the diagram and the teardown. I found that it was difficult not to break the tabs while removing the silver trim. I didn't find that the key was worth saving. Both keys side by side and the front trim removed, the buttons are now loose and I'm free to move them from key to key. I am moving the front trunk icon and diamond icon buttons from the Alibaba key and replacing the trunk and alarm button from the OEM key. This diamond icon is an auxiliary button. I believe there are a number of other functions that you can program to this button rather than having to schedule a time. Now that we have swapped everything over, I can reinstall everything. Starting with the key face up, install the two front silver trims by sliding the top down over that retaining clip and then pinch. Now that the buttons are retained by those trim pieces, we can flip the key over and install the U-shaped trim. Reinstall the battery cover and valet key, and you are good to go. I was surprised to find that after putting the Alibaba key back together, it still functions even after completely breaking off the tabs during the removal process. So if needed, I could use this by swapping over the internals into the Alibaba key. In the next video, we'll find out how to program the car to accept the new buttons and their functions, opening the front trunk and turning on the HVAC remotely. Thanks. Looking forward to next time.